Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Module 6. So today we're going to talk about, I'm going to first go over the content, and then I have a little bit more information to share with you about what we're going to be learning this week. So we're at Module 6, so that means you have already completed um, two article critiques, and you have also completed two case studies. So as you can see, these case studies that we're doing align with the topic that we are working on. So let's look at this week's module. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go over what is due, and then I have a little bit more to share with you. So first of all, I hope my new headphone works better. I know when I've made other videos, it was not that clear. So hopefully this is better. So I'm going to go to Module 6, as you can see. Let's first look at our aim, what are our objectives for this module. So in this module, the focus is comprehension. So we want to demonstrate knowledge of the processes of comprehending. We want to know how to assess comprehension, look at comprehension, the different theories of comprehension, reciprocal teaching, questioning the author. We want to know how implement a program of comprehension instruction. You're going to be demonstrating knowledge of the nature and importance of text structures. We'll talk about that today. And then we want to use questions to enhance comprehension. And your case study this week is going to align with comprehension. So you have two chapters to read. Chapter 8 is called Comprehension, Theory, and Strategies. So if you look at Chapter 8, that's going to give you a lot of the different strategies for comprehension. Chapter 9 is Text Structures and Teaching Procedures. And this is really important to know text structures because text structures help with comprehension and it also helps with writing. You're going to find two examples of modeling think alouds, doing think aloud. And I'd like you to watch that video because doing a think aloud helps students with comprehension because you are auditorily explaining the thinking that you did to help comprehend. If we do not do this, then kids will not understand how to comprehend. I think teachers are great at assessing comprehension, but not so great at teaching comprehension. And there's a difference. That's why you guys have heard me talk about accelerated reader, or maybe you have, but accelerated reader, it's a great way to assess comprehension, not very good at teaching comprehension. So that's what we're going to do for the learn. So you're going to read chapter 8 and 9. Here's your discussion. Your discussion format is based on the reading and viewing in the videos. Identify, we talked about think alouds. That's so important to help with comprehension. I want you to think of a time when a think aloud would have helped you better understand a concept in your education or a job. Provide an example and discuss how a think aloud would have helped you better understand the task. That's the first part of the prompt. The second part of the prompt is, as a Christian educator, why is it important to incorporate a think aloud strategy in your instruction? So that's what you're going to do this week for your discussion post. Now, I want to remind you that initial posts are due Saturday. I have a few people not getting it in on time. If you don't get it in on time, people can't respond. So Saturday night is initial, Tuesday night is your response. Then you have your third case study. So by now, you're getting feedback, and I am seeing improvement on the case study. So with each case study, I'm hoping to see more and more improvement. So this time we have a 10th grade student. We have a 10th grade ELA student. And student C reads fluently, but has very little recall. So we call this someone that's a word reader. He's a great word reader, but is struggling with comprehension. Student C's grades are suffering in all content areas. So we know if you can't comprehend in reading, in high school, then you're also going to suffer in social studies and science because those content areas require reading and comprehending. The student has a potential for a college scholarship in athletics. And student C is very validated by his athletic success. So that gives him a lot of success. But because student C has had so much difficulty with reading and understanding, it's not real motivated uh, in academics. This student is fine with minimal work. If I can get a C and barely pass, I'm okay with that. Student C's parents are excited that their student may have the potential to get a scholarship, but they also had a lot of difficulty with school and don't really see a great value in education, although they do support the student and the teacher. So, based on a student that's struggling with comprehension and struggling with the content area subjects, an athlete, not real motivated, what are you going to do? I need you to write a summary and then write 3 measurable goals. So remember, our measurable goals are SMART goals: specific, measurable, um, uh, forget the A, attainable, realistic, and then time bound. So it has to be very, very measurable. And then you're going to do the instructional strategies that align with those goals. And then lastly, how will you integrate faith? So you have a great opportunity with this student to integrate faith. And so use the feedback that you've had from previous lessons to help you with this. As a reminder, this is not until Module 8, but in Module 8, you are required to read. Let me grab the book. The Book Whisperer. If you have not purchased this, you need to purchase it. For Module 8, you are to read this entire book and do a double entry journal. I already sent all of you that template for the journal. I wanted to tell you that because I don't want you to get to Module 8 and say, oh my gosh, we have to read this whole book and do a double entry journal. I'm telling you now so you can read gradually, little by little. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is go over a few things related to comprehension with all of you. So let me share my screen again, and we'll talk. Okay. So I want you to, sorry, I messed up okay, I'm just going to do it this way. I want you to think back on classes that you've had to comprehend, that you have comprehended the material very well. What was done that helped you comprehend that material? Maybe you had classes and you comprehended it better than other classes. What did the teacher do? How was the class organized? So I want you to think about this as we're talking. So when you think about comprehension, all strategies, and especially comprehension strategies, they need to be explicit, scaffolded, cumulative. So cumulative is building off of one another, and diagnostic. It should be based on some type of a diagnostic assessment that's been given. So think about that as we talk about these comprehension strategies. So research shows that weak word reading contributes more to weak comprehension than any other component. So why do you think that? If you've studied the science of reading, we know that the simple view of reading is you have decoding and comprehension, and that equals a skilled reader. If a student has to spend all of their brain power decoding, it inhibits their comprehension. So that reading, that decoding is essential. So what do good readers do? Well, good readers are purposeful. They know why they're reading. They're active in their reading. They're strategic, and they're flexible. So flexible, they know that maybe one reading, it's okay to scan. But if I am reading directions on how to set up my remote on my TV, I cannot scan it. I would like to, but I can't. I'm going to have to be very, very specific in what I'm reading and take my time. So what's some of the difference between good readers, poor readers, and good readers, successful readers? Well, one is poor readers think understanding occurs from just getting the words right. Good readers know that they have to take responsibility for the construction of meaning. So they have to decode, but they also have to use some of their background knowledge. Poor readers, their only strategies are memorization, just rehearsal. Good readers have a large uh, pocket full of strategies that they can use and organizational patterns. Poor readers, they do not think strategically. They don't have an accurate sense of when they have good comprehension and when they don't. Good readers do think strategically and they know when they don't know something. Um, when I am assessing a student in reading and they self correct, that's a really good thing because those self corrections, that student knows I didn't get it right. So self correction's good. Poor readers many times have low self esteem, where good readers have that self confidence that they can be effective learners. And I put this in red because this is really important. Many poor readers see success or failure totally based on luck or teacher bias. And good readers know that their success is a result of hard work and efficient thinking. So many times, what I'll do is students that make good grades, I'll have them stand up and I'll say, "What did you do?" And they'll say, "Well, here's how I studied. I reviewed my notes." It's important that you build that philosophy in your class that making good grades is a result of hard work and efficient learning. It's just not someone got some the reading skills imparted in them and others didn't. So here are some examples of some reading strategies. Monitoring your own comprehension, making connections, predicting, recognizing text structure, asking questions, answering questions, creating mental images. These are all great strategies. So the National Reading Panel indicated that students asking students to generate questions had one of the strongest scientific evidence for effectiveness. And this is a good strategy, especially if you're doing nonfiction. Have the students change a title of a section into a question and then have them write the answer to that question. So asking questions really leads to better comprehension. When you are teaching comprehension, it has to be explicitly taught. So we have to think about this gradual release of responsibility, the I do, we do, you do model. So when you teach a comprehension, let's say that you're teaching main ideas and supporting details. The I do part is it's teacher focused, it's modeled with direct instruction and think alouds. Then you have guided practice with the whole group or small group. And then finally, the student is independently doing that. So students move through these stages requiring scaffolding and differentiation. So scaffolding in the model of explicit instruction. So we want, with this scaffolded support as teachers, we're explaining, we're modeling, we're guiding, and we're assessing. So when you think about your teaching of comprehension, you need to be going through these processes. How do we scaffold for comprehension? Well, you scaffold by doing graphic organizers. You scaffold with props. Cooperative learning helps with scaffolding. And read aloud methods help with scaffolding. And think alouds. I didn't put think alouds on here, but that's what we're talking about in this module. So that's a big part of what I wanted to, that's one part, the thing that I wanted to talk to you about today. The other thing that I want to talk to you about, I wanted to show you, and give me a second to get this, is an article that I wrote. It's been a while since it's been published now, but it was a research article about readers' notebooks. And I'm going to share that with you. So I'll post the article, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what I did. So this was a something that I had published. It's been like I said, it's been a little bit now, but all of my students, I worked in a fourth grade class. I had three fourth grade classes, and all of the students got a reader's notebook. So instead of doing something like accelerated reader, the students would record the books that they read in their journal. And you're going to learn more about this when you do the book whisper, because she talks about some of these things. And what I did was every week the students would write one letter. I'm going to stop sharing it. I don't think so. They would write one letter to me as a teacher to explain what they learned. And then the teacher would explain, or the teacher would write the students back. And what I did is I coded all those letters. And what I found was that students will write to the level of thinking that the teacher asks. If a teacher asks higher level thinking questions, that's what the students will give them. And I think I'm going to share more of this article when we get to Module 8, because I think that'll fit better. But this does align with comprehension. So that's why I wanted to share that with you. So just as a reminder, this week you have two assignments. Assignment number 1 is your discussion post, where you're going to think about a think aloud. When do you wish you would have had a think aloud? Describe that. Answer all the prompts. The second thing is you have your third case study. This is for a 10th grader, and this student is not doing well in ELA comprehension, and it's impacting his other content areas. So we need 3 SMART goals for this student, and then instructional strategies. And don't forget your faith integration. That's all for this week for Module 6. You're almost getting done, and comprehension is very important. I think the biggest mistake I see with teachers with comprehension is they do not provide explicit instruction. If you're teaching older kids, well, really all kids, you're going to do a close read. So with that close read, you're going to do repeated readings of the same text, but every time you read that text, you're going to have a different purpose for reading. So close reads are really, really important for comprehension and for you to demonstrate that explicit instruction. Okay, that's all I have for this week. I hope you have a wonderful week. If you have any questions, let me know.